collapsible bucket. Welcome back to the SSL Family Dad channel. Today I have something very cool to show you. So we have a freeze dryer here that you probably have never seen before. It's a brand other than the big one out there, Harvest, right? That's the one that everybody's heard about. This is kind of a new brand in the market, and they have a really innovative freeze dryer. So I want to show you guys some of the features. I've had a chance to try it out, and I really like it. So let's check out the Cube freeze dryer. Maybe you're asking yourself, but Todd, what is freeze drying? Or maybe you don't really care. Freeze drying is something that has kind of taken the market by storm over the last maybe 5 years or so, maybe a little longer than that. Freeze drying is basically like super dehydrating. It's a way to take food and preserve it for very, very long periods of time. You can preserve just about any kind of food in a freeze dryer. What the freeze dryer does, you take food, let's say you take fresh peppers, for instance, which I have done quite often, or apples, one of my favorite things to freeze dry. You take those things from your garden, or you harvest them from your apple trees or fruit trees, or buy them on sale when they're on sale or in season. You slice them up, you put them in on trays in the freeze dryer. You let this thing run through a cycle. It freezes and it heats and it uses a vacuum chamber to suck all the air out of this unit, and it literally sucks all the water out of the food. And what you're left with is food that has like just about zero water in it. You can then put it in a vacuum sealed or an airtight bag or jar with a little oxygen absorber pack in there. You put that on the shelf and it will last you a very, very long time. Depending on the food, it can last anywhere from 10, 15 to 25, 30 years. So you can use it to, increase your food storage or just preserve your harvest from the year, from your garden. This freeze dryer is from a company called Prep4Life, and Prep4Life has created the Cube freeze dryer. It's a little different, and so I'm going to go through some of the cool things that this has. So this will be kind of an introduction video. What I have here is like a pro bundle. This has, if you go to their site, they've got a lot of different bundles, but I have every accessory that they offer from their site, and so I'll show you through some of the cool things they have. And if you are gonna order one of these, I would definitely recommend getting this rack. It's perfect for this. You can roll this thing away into a closet or move it around a room or whatever you want. And then that also allows you, they actually have this little bucket. It's a collapsible bucket, so it actually smashes down into a smaller size, but that just allows you to put the bucket underneath here, and when you drain it, it just drains right into the bucket, and then you just dump it out when you're done. I actually have a bin here full of Thanksgiving dinner. These are all, this whole bin is filled with little bits of Thanksgiving. All right, Thanksgiving leftovers. Turkey, ham stuffing, sweet potatoes, green bean casserole, corn, and the best mashed potatoes. The goal is to preserve this. We can have Thanksgiving dinner later in the year. We have freeze-dried green beans, turkey, stuffing, and then I made up a bunch of meals. So it has a little bit of ham, a little bit of turkey, mashed potatoes, all that stuff right in one pack. This is a Thanksgiving dinner with ham. So this has a little bit of everything in it. So I have a bunch of these in here. We freeze-dried all of our leftovers, leftover meat, and mashed potatoes, and green beans and stuff, all that stuff. Corn, here's mashed potatoes in this bag. And so all of our Thanksgiving dinner is now kind of preserved. And so this can be great for working out on a job site somewhere. You can just grab one of these packs, take it out, add a little water, and then stir it around, and you basically have a meal. So the Prep4Life bags here, these are the vacuum pack or seal bags. There's several different sizes you can get that I have with it. There's small ones and large ones. And then this is the actual sealer. So you just kind of take the top of these bags and stick it in here. This has a heating element in it, and you close that, and it'll seal the actual bag together. So just in case this Ziploc type seal comes open, you won't wreck your food. It's sealed above it, and so that keeps everything nice and fresh. The unit itself is pretty standard. The trays are a good size, and they're deep. And so you can fit lots of food in here. There's 4 trays in this this unit, and they slide right into this. This whole thing comes out if you need it to come out, and I'll show you why here at the end of the video. It's a really cool thing that this has, an option this has this just blew my mind. Zach from Prep4Life actually came out to the Homestead here and checked out the unit and kind of showed me everything that it does, how all the accessories work and everything. So it was really cool to hear right from them how everything was intended to be used and why, and what are some of the advantages. So a couple other kind of neat accessories. This has Prep4Life silicone mats that you can get. It just keeps your trays cleaner. This is especially nice if you have things that will stick to the bottom, you have to kind of scrape off or whatever. With the silicone mat, you can just kind of move the mat around, it'll kind of come off, and you can actually use this as a little bit of a funnel, roll it up, and then just dump your item right into your bags from the mat. So this is pretty handy. But check this out. They actually you can get twice as much out of each one of your batches because they have these racks. And what this allows you to do, you set this on top. This just allows you to put basically twice as much food in every batch. So you can use the underneath of this. So you could fill this with apple slices underneath, or Skittles or whatever. And then on the top, you can put a bunch more food as well, right? Anything that will go on the rack, obviously. And this will all freeze dry. I mean, it'll do twice the amount. And these slots are deep enough where you can put that in there. Now, there's not a lot of space, between here, so you can't stack stuff up super high, but you can definitely get twice as much in each one of your batches this way, which is pretty cool. And then they also have all these racks, extra trays, and plastic covers. These are great for pre-freezing things. So if you want to just fill these with food, put them in your freezer, pre-freeze them before you put them in the freeze dryer, it helps to shorten the cycle. I'm going to come back to that. That's pretty cool. The unit itself is pretty straightforward, but it does have some interesting features. It's Wi-Fi, so this actually connects to your Wi-Fi network, and you set this up where it will actually send you email notifications. It doesn't have an app because of the way appliances work. There's special rules with the appliances being controlled from apps. You run the unit, and once your freeze drying process is completed, it will shoot you an email. So I get a notification on my phone, your freeze drying is complete. If there's any errors, any problems, it will tell you, it'll notify you. And so right on my phone, if I'm at work, I'll get a notification, and I can tell my wife, hey, run down and empty the freeze dryer and pack the stuff up for us. And she can do that, which is pretty cool. It has a couple normal features: frozen food, unfrozen food. Candy Express is good, just quick for Skittles and other kinds of candy, which one of our favorite things to do in the freeze dryer. It has a defrost feature, which obviously is self-explanatory, but then it has this. It's called a jar seal. So this whole unit, I'm not going to take it out right now, but you just pop the seal off, you pull this whole shelf right out. There's one little clip on the back you take off, you pull this whole shelf out, and you can set this tray right in the bottom of the unit. And then you can take all your freeze-dried food in mason jars, quart, pint, whatever size mason jars. You stack them all on this tray and soft tighten the lids on. Put that back in there, close the door, and then you can run a vacuum seal. So you just hit the jar seal button. It will run a vacuum in this unit, and it will vacuum seal all of your mason jars. That feature right there will save you a ton of money because you don't have to use all the bags. You don't have to use all the Mylar bags. You can actually use your mason jars, and you can get a good Now there are other ways to vacuum seal, of course, but this just has it built right in for mason jars. You get your food freeze dries, you fill it in all your mason jars, you pop that out, you put the tray in, you hit the vacuum seal button, and it vacuum seals all those jars. And so you have a good long-term food storage option in a mason jar for fruit, for meat, for completely cooked meals and prepared meals you can put in there and have them ready to go. Listen, if you're on the fence about getting a freeze dryer in general, I thought, they're expensive. It's another appliance I have to use. What's the difference between canning? I can preserve, I can freeze things, I can can things. What do I need to use a freeze dryer for? There are so many other things you can do with the freeze dryer. Just the candy options alone. One of the things my brother actually does is he has a small business basically with farmers markets with freeze-dried taffies and Skittles and all kinds of other candies. They're one of the most popular selling items. And you can actually freeze dry and make a pretty good amount of money off of selling freeze-dried candy. It's not readily available on the market right now, and so you can't just go to the grocery store and buy freeze-dried Skittles or freeze-dried local taffies or other kinds of things. And so there's a lot of creative ways you can actually make an additional income using these. But just for use around the house, if I harvest things out of the garden, let's say I have a bunch of peppers, which is one of my favorite things I did this year. I had an overabundance of bell peppers. And I do every year. Tomatoes, things like that. I'm gonna bring them in, I got a quick rinse on them, I'm gonna chop them up, throw them in the freeze dryer. They're gonna freeze dry, they're gonna preserve. I can keep them long term, and I can dump them right into chili. I can dump them right into a pan with oil and a little bit of water. They will rehydrate, I can fry them. They're just ready to use, and I don't have to worry about them going bad. I don't have to worry about water bath canning, I don't have to worry about freezer burn, Frozen vegetables only last a year in the freezer before they don't taste as good. You get freezer burn. They lose nutritional value over time. They don't reconstitute very well. They don't defrost well. Freeze-dried food is actually the healthiest way to preserve food. It is the most close to its original form, I guess you could say, or nutrients once it's rehydrated. But one of the things I want to do more of, and it is probably one of my favorite uses for the freeze dryer, is freeze-dried meals, like we did with the Thanksgiving dinners. You can actually make, for instance, we could buy a bunch of items on sale or use our Homestead garden items and our own meat and chicken and things like that, make chilies, make all kinds of different meals, and then you can freeze dry that. So I could make a huge pot of chili, 5 pounds of venison and ground beef and whatever chicken. I can take all that and I can freeze dry it and put that in mason jars, put that in these bags, and that is a ready to go meal. This just sits on the shelf. It doesn't need to be refrigerated, doesn't need to be frozen, doesn't take any electricity or energy to keep it preserved. Sits on the shelf, and when I'm ready to use that meal, I'm running short on time one day, I literally take this, dump it in a pot, add a little bit of water, warm it up. I've got chili ready to go. That is, to me, one of the most amazing. You could prepare meals for months ahead of time, and you don't have to worry about freezers going bad. One of the worst things that's ever happened to me was a few years ago. We had just got all of our pork, all of our pigs processed. I had hams, I had pork chops, I had lard and bacon, and I had a freezer filled with meat and venison from a deer that I had shot, and some friends gave me meat, and we had a freezer filled with meat. Well, we had a power outage, and the freezer was off for an extended period of time. We weren't home, and all of that meat was lost. That happened twice to me. Another time, I accidentally unplugged the freezer to run a power tool on the same circuit in my garage. Forgot to plug it back in, lost all the meat in our freezer. That kind of stuff doesn't happen with the freeze dryer. So the freeze dryer has become a staple for us here as a Homestead tool, and it was it's a great investment for any homestead. Check out the Prep4Life units. These have some great features, they're great prices, and they have a ton of awesome accessories with these. And so check them out. I'll put a link in the description to their unit, their website, and the unit that I have here, so you can go check their stuff out. If you have questions, let me know, as I'm sure we can get answers from either my experience here or from the guys over at Prep4Life. Would be happy to answer any questions that you guys have. Hope you guys enjoyed the update. Let me know what you guys think. Thumbs up on today's video. I hope you're having a great week, and as always, guys, thanks for watching. Have a good one.